Hello and welcome back to Sports Talk Live. Today we're going to focus on Westchester basketball as both the men and the women are preparing for the PSAC tournament. And then after that we're going to go outside the horns. We'll take another look at our question of the week. We've been going around asking the students just different type of questions, generally Philly sports related. But we want to ask you guys, the viewers, to give us your ideas of types of questions that we can ask here on the show. So Riley, how can they go about doing that?
Well, Brian, they can do this a bunch of ways. They can go to our website, sportstalklive.net. They can also go to our Twitter and Facebook pages, send us a message, tweet at us. We'd be happy to talk about any suggestions that they have. But that's enough about that. Let's talk some basketball. Taylor, how are the men doing?
Well, guys, overall the men have lost their final game of the regular season to Cheney, 92-83, and they actually are locked into second place. So they'll have a first-round bye, which is good, but they'll have to go to play the winner of Millersville versus Shippensburg coming up this Tuesday, the 5th at 7 p.m.
Yeah, Taylor, I'm really excited that we're hosting another playoff game here at Westchester. Kind of just is a completely different atmosphere. The crowd's really great, so I think it's going to help us out, and I'm really excited. But how do you guys think that we're going to fare in this tournament?
Well, I think we can kind of dismiss this last loss to Cheney. I mean, it was two rival schools. Anything can really happen. If you look at the team's overall body of work, they did really well this year. They were consistently good, and I really think that's going to help them, and they're going to do pretty well in this tournament.
I have to agree with you, Riley, especially with the senior leadership. We always talked about all year, John Breeden, Carl Johnson. They've really been helping this team, and with that mixture of young talent and veteran leadership, I think that they're going to go far.
Yeah, I think John Breeden is going to be the key. It seems like when he's playing well, our team wins, and when he's not, we seem to struggle. As you see in Cheney, he didn't play the best game, right, and we lost. So I think if he plays just like he's supposed to play, then that's going to be enough, and we're going to be able to get back to the championship. I'm predicting, it's going to be bold, I'm predicting ESU versus Westchester as a rematch in the championship. What do you guys think?
Well, I really like that prediction. I mean, IUP is going to be really tough to get past, but like you said, John Breeden, I think it's crucial for him to play well, but I think he starts it all for our guards. I mean, you got Jaleel Mack, Carl Johnson, Shannon Givens, Troy Hockaday. If they all play well, we're really tough to match up with, and if they do play well, we're going to be pretty hard to beat.
You're right, Riley. The seniors really have to step up and play their game, play their best game, actually. And especially in the West this year, they've been really good. The East was a little bit down, but playing some of those West teams, like you said, IUP, Gannon, teams like that, they really have to step up if they're going to beat them. So I see them getting to the championship game and having a shot at winning it all.
All right, so again, I think we're all pretty excited about this. And again, this is going to be Tuesday, the 5th at 7 p.m. here in Hollister Fieldhouse. So be sure to come out and show your Ram pride. It's going to do it for the men. How are the women looking as they head into the PSAC tournament?
Now, Lady Rams end the season on a 2-game winning streak as they defeated Cheney 88-62. They'll head into the PSAC tournament with the number 5 seed and will travel to number 4 Kutztown in the first round of the tournament. Guys, they've lost to them twice this year. What are they going to have to do to avoid making it 3 straight?
Well, Riley, for me, I think it's going to be the upperclassmen that are really going to need to show their leadership. As they've been doing all year, they've been doing a great job. We have a lot of freshmen on the team, and I think once you get into the playoffs, it's kind of just like a completely different, as I said before, atmosphere, and it can sometimes hurt them just being young freshmen. So I think if the leaders in the team, Alexander Lennon, Megan Carrigan, if they can just guide them like they've been doing all year, I think we're going to have a good shot.
Brian, like you just said, the freshmen, they're going to play a major role too. They're young and they're inexperienced, but they've actually been helping the team. I mean, scoring, a lot of our leading scorers are from the freshman class, so they really have to step up and keep playing the way they've been playing to help the seniors, otherwise we don't have a shot.
Now, another thing that we must know is the first 2 times we played Kutztown, we ran that 5-in, 5-out system. We kind of did away with that after we struggled with it a little bit. They haven't seen this new offense we run, so it'd be interesting to see how they're going to prepare as well as how much or what kind of success we're going to have against them.
I agree with you completely. I think it's going to help us out. Like, obviously, running the 5-in, 5-out system may work for some teams. It didn't work against Kutztown, so I think going at them with a completely different strategy is really going to help us, and it's going to give us an advantage in the end. Well, that's going to do it for Westchester Sports. And if you're thinking to yourself, hey, why didn't they talk about my sport? That's because you didn't ask. You got to go to our website, sportstalklive.net, and let us know what you want to hear about. Another idea, they can always pick up an edition of the Quad. I know Kenny Ayers does a great job putting that whole thing together. They have a great sports section, pretty much all the sports here at Westchester. But that'll do it for Westchester Sports. Riley, what was this week's question of the week?
Well, Brian, this week's question of the week was, will the Phillies be better than they were last year? Let's see what the students had to say.
Absolutely. Last year, for the first half of the year, they didn't have Chase Elliott or Ryan Howard, big part of their lineup. And I just think with them being healthy and them having the full team back, except for Chooch for the first 25 days, or for 25 games, I think we'll be a lot better. It's going to be great.
Oh, definitely going to be better this year. Ryan Howard's going to be healthy. They got a pretty solid squad, so it's looking good for them.
Yeah, I think they'll stay well. As long as Ryan Howard stays healthy, I think we'll have a better season than last year.
I do not think they will be better this year because they're getting older, and I don't see them all being healthy through the entire season. I think they'll be better this year. I think they have the idea of leadership this year, something they didn't have last year. So I'm hoping I don't think they're going to be a #1 contender this year, but I think they're definitely going to do a little bit better than they did last year.
Yeah, I think they'll do better. Last year they had a lot of injuries. This year everyone seems to be healthy, ready to go. Maybe we'll get into the playoffs this year. Hopefully.
Well, no surprise, it seemed like most of the students had high hopes for the Phillies this year, as long as we can stay healthy. What do you guys think? Do you think they're going to be able to do it?
Well, I think the students made a good point. Just the fact of having Chase Utley and Ryan Howard in the lineup right from the get-go is really going to help this team and help their confidence.
I disagree. Though I think they are better than what we had. I still think that they're older, they're breaking down more, and I still think they can stay healthy the whole year. So, though I like them and though I will root for them this year, and I'm interested, I don't think they're going to make it that far.
I think it's going to be pretty interesting. I think this year, compared to most, we made a lot of signings. It's not any huge signings, like we didn't pick up a Cliff Lee or a Hunter Pence or anything like we've done in previous years, but just bringing people like Ben Revere, we have Michael Young, and we have Delman Young, just different players that are just kind of really need to factor in if we're going to have any success. I think it's going to be really interesting watching it in the preseason, and especially in the first part of the season. It's going to be really interesting. I have no idea what to expect, but I'm pretty excited about it.
And Brian, another thing though is that all the players that you named, we got them for relatively cheap. So compared to getting a Cliff Lee or someone like that who costs $20–25 million a year, these guys are on the lower end. So I think that will help us out in the long run financially.
Yeah, and I prefer that actually. I mean, you looked at the big names that went out there. We kind of stayed away from them. I actually like these signings. I think they're kind of a good fit for us. It'll be interesting to see how the season develops with them, but I think they could be a perfect fit to the puzzle.
Yeah, speaking of interesting signings, I'll talk about the Flyers. They just picked up Simone Gagne, a big name for Philly sports fans. So are you guys excited about it? How do you feel?
Oh, I'm super excited. I mean, you saw in the first game, he scored right off the bat, and I think he's really going to help the young guy like Couturier. I mean, he's kind of been slumping all year, but even in the first game, he looked a lot more comfortable.
You're right, and going back to when he played, he was one of the longest active tenured players in Philadelphia with Rollins and some other guys in Philly. But I just think just his nature, his personality, I think he'll just stabilize this young team and help us out in the long run. Maybe not the talent. I mean, he still has something left, but just the way he carries himself in the leadership.
Yeah, I think we've been talking about leadership a lot today, but that's what it's going to be. It's not going to be on the ice where he's going to be scoring a goal every game, but I think that's what we were missing. We have a young captain right now. We kind of lost Yager last year. I think he was kind of a good leader, and we just didn't have that. I think picking up Simone Gagne, as we talked about, again, relatively cheap, I think it's really going to help us out. But again, that's just our opinion, and we want to hear from you, the fans. So go to our website, sportstalklive.net, to vote on this week's poll question, which is, how will Simone Gagne impact the Flyers? That's going to do it this week on Sports Talk Live. We'll be here next week. Same time and same place. Take it easy, Westchester.